What's on the shelf?
3, 2, 1, bro.
Hi everybody, my name is Nick Murphy. I'm one half of the Brothers Murph, and this is What's on That Shelf? We recently reorganized our whole shelves. You can see right here, we got like the red area, which goes down into black down here. We got some blue going through here. Then we got like browns into yellows, and there's greens and stuff up there, and then kind of whites down here and all this kind of stuff. So we reorganized our shelves, and one of the most common comments on that video was, does this mean that What's on the Shelf is going to end? No, What's on the Shelf will just continue on as it always does. This will be actually like, I guess, the fourth time or so that we kind of restarted What's on the Shelf, because every time we like reorganize our shelves, we're like, well, I guess we should kind of restart that and start back in the top left corner. We're not going to start up there, but just know that going forward, there may be some games that we've covered already, just because everything got switched up again, because we decided to organize by color, and I freaking love it. It's wonderful. And so we're going to go ahead and start. We're going to be doing a little red shelf. This red shelf right here is the one we're going to be doing. And yeah, so we got 6 games to go through. So I'll try and go fast. These videos always end up being like 50 minutes long because Mike and I just talk forever. And so we're going to go ahead and start. We're going to start with a Restoration Games game. If you know, we are sponsored by Restoration Games. Check them out. And this is Conspiracy. Conspiracy is a really fun, kind of weird game. Weird, not bad, just weird as in different. In the sense that I don't know of another game that I've played that is quite like this. So Conspiracy is a game, a competitive game, where everyone is going around a board, and the board has different cities on it, like Zurich and Brussels and Prague and all this kind of stuff. And essentially there is a briefcase that has like cool, fancy stuff in it or whatever. And then everyone is a different corporation or headquarters, and everyone has a headquarters in the corner of the board. And you essentially are controlling all of these different agents around the board. The agents are these really cool acrylic looking things. And these right here are all of the agents as well. I love the art style in this game. This red and white, it's just, oh, it's gorgeous. And all of the agents do certain things. And essentially what you're trying to do is you're trying to get that briefcase to your headquarters. But here's the thing. You're not an agent. You are a headquarters. You are a corporation. You are a company. The agents, everyone can control. So you have a screen in front of you, and behind the screen you have a little board, and the board has all the different agents on it. And you are paying the agents off. And so you're putting, oh, I can put money on this agent, put money on this agent, put money on this agent, and you're putting money out, and then you can then get to move around the board. And people can essentially challenge you. And so if you put if you say, I'm gonna move this guy over here. I think his name is the Magician, if I remember correctly. I'm going to move him over here and grab the briefcase. Someone then can challenge you. And essentially, they say out a number. A number is, and that's a number that they may have paid off their people. And essentially, you have to have paid off them more than the person challenging you for you to be able to control them. So you're constantly trying to manage your payouts, and I don't believe you can outright lie about how much you have. No, you can't outright lie. So you can't be like, I paid him 20 when you didn't. You can't actually lie, because then it just would break the game and make the game worthless. So, but you don't necessarily have to tell the truth, essentially. So go, I paid him 3, and then you have to be like, well, I paid him 4, I paid him 5, and you have to keep going up, outbidding each other. But again, it all has to be truthful, but you can decide to stop early. So if I've paid him off 10, I could stop at 5, and then everyone goes like, oh, okay, so Nick's paid off the Magician 5, okay. But really, I paid him off 10, so then later on, I can then bid higher and higher, and maybe people are like, what, what's going on, all this kind of stuff. And so it's very, very weird. It's very different, and it's really, really fun. It feels unlike any other game I've ever played. And then the cool thing is, one of the main things that they've added someone named Dr. Solomon. Dr. Solomon is the gentleman, first of all, who made the game in the first place, Mr. Solomon, who was in poor health. And so they made him a character in the game. And essentially there's this countdown to when Dr. Solomon is coming to the city. And essentially you're rolling this die at the end of every round, and the die has some blank faces and then some faces that have Dr. Solomon on it. And if Dr. Solomon gets rolled on the Dr. Solomon track, he moves up, and then eventually he'll get to the city. If the briefcase has not made it to someone's headquarters by that time, if you get the briefcase to your headquarters, you win. Then Dr. Solomon arrives in the city, and then everyone has to reveal, and on your player board, there's a spot for Dr. Solomon. And whoever paid off Dr. Solomon the most is the person who wins. And so the whole time, you also kind of have to be managing Dr. Solomon. You have to be paying him off. But you don't want to focus too much time on that, because then you're not focusing on getting the briefcase. It's a really cool way to make the game end, because I heard the old game could kind of go on for a while. And so this is a really cool countdown timer that you also have to manage. And it's just super, super cool, super, super fun. If you get a chance, try this game out. It's super interesting and super fun, and I've never really played anything like it, honestly. It's just an absolute blast. And then I love this box. I love this box. It's just so stark. I love it, love it, love it. So that is Conspiracy by Restoration Games. Really good game. Give it a shot. Came out this year. It's really, really wonderful. All right, we're going to move on to The Bloody Inn. The Bloody Inn is a game that Mike and I champion quite a bit because it's just super weird. Kind of weird game. This game is super morbid. It has some of my favorite art in it. The art is by Weberson Santiago, I believe is his name. Yes, Weberson Santiago. Has got this really, really unique, weird art style that just I absolutely adore. I absolutely adore his art style. And The Bloody Inn is a very interesting game where you are a family of people in France and you are running an inn. You're all running the same inn, and essentially you realize, I can actually make more money if we kill guests rather than just let them stay in our place. So you're all family members, but it's not a co-op. You're all essentially trying to kill different guests and try to make the most money. And essentially there are guests that are going to come into your hotel, you're in every single round, and you can do certain things. You can recruit some of them onto your side and get them to like work for you. You can kill them, obviously. You can get them, you can turn them into, essentially turn them into different, the cards are kind of twofold. So the cards will have a person on them, like the butcher or, the concierge or something like that. And then on the bottom, those cards can also be turned into different wings of your inn. You can expand different wings of your inn. So you can like make a ballroom or make like a garden or something like that. And the whole point of expanding your inn is those are places that you can put bodies under. So you can put bodies under the ballroom. And certain places are better than other places. So certain wings of your inn can hold more bodies than others. But the problem is there are police officers coming through the inn. And at the end of the round, if you have any unburied corpses, the cops will essentially get mad, and you essentially you lose $10. Ultimately, what happens, thematically is you bribe the town gravedigger, and they come grab it for you and get rid of it before the cops like arrest you. And it's just this really weird game that's actually got a really hard balance to it, because how it goes is guests come in and you can kill them, but when you kill them, they're just a body. And then it's a whole separate action to actually bury them underneath part of your inn, which is, again, this is super morbid, I know. And the thing is, each round, you only get to do 2 actions. So if there are any cops in the inn, you only have 2 actions to make sure to get that body underneath something. And certain bodies, certain people rather, are more valuable. So it takes essentially more resources to be able to bribe them or to be able to kill them or to bury them. And it's honestly really, really fun. Pretty simple game that is just an absolute blast in such a weird, morbid theme with this creepy, weird art that I love. And I love this game. And it kind of went super under the radar, I feel like. And we've kind of championed this game a lot because I think it's super fun and super weird. And I want more people to play it because it's so weird and the art is so good. So that's The Bloody Inn. It's a weird one. We're in kind of a weird shelf. We're in a weird shelf. And so let's kind of go into another weirdish game before we go into some more normal ones. And that is a flip ship. Sorry, this box. One thing about the name Flip Ships here is it is the same this way than it is this way, which is super, super fun. So Flip Ships is a game by Renegade Games and King Klanko and illustrated by Mr. Kwanchai Moria, indeed. Kwanchai Moria did the art, and it's beautiful. So this is a game, it's a co-op dexterity game, which is super cool. And essentially, you it's kind of like Space Invader is ultimately what it is. It's very much like Space Invader, where you have this planet with a bunch of different like moons out, and you have all these enemy ships coming up, and they're essentially going like down towards the end of the table where you are, and every person has ships, and the ships are these little discs, and you're flicking these discs. You put them on the edge of the table or on this little like stand thing, and you flick it, and essentially you're flicking these discs, trying to land them on different these different enemy ships. If you land on the ship, for the most part, you get to destroy it. But the ships have special powers. So like certain ships will shield all the ships adjacent to them. So you need to make sure you take out that ship first, because you can't touch these ships until that one's gone. And so there's actually strategy in terms of where you're shooting your chips and your ships. And then on top of that, you get special powers. And as the game goes on, and basically as things get worse and worse and worse, you get more ships and you get better ships. And so then your ships might be like, ooh, if this ship hits one, it also hits everything around it. And so they get really beefy, but you're gonna have less of those beefy ships than your other ships. So you really wanna like try to aim well. And in the very, very back, you can see there is a mothership, and the mothership is slowly just sitting back there. And you can also, to win the game, you have to destroy the mothership, which means you're gonna have to flick all the way across the table and try to land them inside the mothership. It's this big cardboard little thing. And it's just so weird and super fun. And I love flip ships. Which way should I have it? Oh, this is technically the way it's supposed to be. Oops, I was actually having it wrong. It's super fun. It's a really fun dexterity game. This one actually isn't even ours. This is Karen's mom, Joy, who might pop in the comments. Mom writes, this is actually hers, but I think she let us borrow it. It's super fun. Really love flip ships. It's a game that like we'll never play very often, but every time we bring it out, we're just like, man, that's great. But it's just, it's an every once in a while kind of game, because this isn't a game you're gonna pull out all the time. It's a dexterity flipping game. But the fact that it's co-op is super fun, and it's just a good time. Again, a kind of a weird game, but I love it. I love this shelf. It's good times. All right, now into a not weird game at all, really. Codenames, straight up Codenames. We have two different kinds of Codenames. We have Codenames Normal, and we have Codenames Duet. I personally like normal Codenames better than Codenames Pictures. My favorite kind of Codenames is Codenames Duet. I like Codenames Duet a lot. I like the two-player aspect. I like the fact that it's co-op. I think you really have the opportunity to like get in the other person's head. But I do like normal Codenames. I think it's a very good party game. The reason why I like Codenames Normal better than Codenames Pictures is because the pictures in Codenames are kind of like Dixit art, where they're very surreal, they're super weird, which is cool. And I think it makes the game harder. It makes the game significantly harder because because you're looking at art instead of just words. There's so much more like personal interpretation that can go into it. And there's already a ton of that in normal Codenames. And I think the added bit of interpretation that you have with the art in Codenames Pictures, I think makes it worse, personally. Now, I feel like a lot of people like Codenames Pictures better, but I personally like the words one better. Here's the thing about Codenames. I like Codenames a lot. I don't entirely know why Codenames is as big as it is. I mean, it's one of the biggest games in the last 5 years for sure, especially because it's like small, relatively cheap, kind of mass markety kind of game. And I like the game. I think it's great. I don't entirely know why it exploded so much, but nonetheless, why not? I'm good for CGE and Vlaada Chvátil. I'm sure they've made a grip of money off this. But I like Codenames at specifically 6. That's my main problem with Codenames, is I like it with very, very specifically 6 people. Maybe 8, but even then, I want to play it only at 6. And here's the reason why. It's because in Codenames, you have 2 people who are the Codemasters, and then you have the other people who are on the 2 different teams. So that means on each team, you have 1 Codemaster and 2 people. That's it. It's the perfect amount, because if you have 2 people, then they're able to discuss back and forth. They're able to kind of like get into each other's heads and mess each other up, which we all do, where you're like, oh, this is the right answer. And as the Codemaster, you're like, yes, that's perfect. And then one person goes, oh, but maybe it's this. And you're like, no. That still happens in a 6-player game. But there's not too many cooks in the kitchen. With any more than 6, I feel like you just start getting way too many opinions, way too many cooks in the kitchen. It slows down the game. It bogs it down. It gets too much. 8 is okay, because then you have Codemasters, and 3 and 3. That works. But even then, I'm not a huge fan. At 4, I think it's too little. You have 2 Codemasters, 1 on each team. Just play Codenames Duet at that point, in my opinion. So I like this game specifically at 6. But at 6, I really like Codenames a lot. And so Codenames is a good stuff. I like it a lot. I'm glad. I'm good for Vlada and all the success it's had. It's awesome. I like Codenames Duet a little better than the normal one, but ultimately, Codenames is great. Okay, so now we're going on to two games that are, I was going to say very similar. They're actually not similar at all, but they look very similar, and they are sequels. One is a sequel to the other one. These boxes are very small, and they're always heavier than I think they're going to be. Architects of the West Kingdoms is first. Architects of the West Kingdoms is a kind of, I guess, sequel to the series. It's kind of a spin-off, I guess is a better way of putting it, to Raiders of the North Sea in that trilogy. They've been doing these trilogies, Shem Phillips and Renegade Games have been doing these trilogies where they had Raiders of the North Sea, they had like shipbuilders or shipwrights of the North Sea, and then something else of the North Sea. And then now they have Architects of the West Kingdom, which is set in that same universe. Except for now, instead of the North Sea, we're in the West Kingdom. And I'm very curious to see if they're going to do East and South. I hope so, because for the most part, I really like all the games they've been making in this universe. But nonetheless, they're all kind of tied together, at least in terms of the general theme, kind of. But mostly it's because of the art. The art is by Mihalo Dmitrievsky, which is a name I struggle with, and I'm very sorry if I butchered that name. But this is an artist who has popped up all over the place, really hit the ground running, and has been around for a little while in board games, but I feel like recently especially has been, I don't know what he does. He must just draw all day and night, because we have so many games with his art, and we don't even have a third of the games that have his art in it. But nonetheless, his art is a very distinct art style. It's very, very cool. I like it a lot. And all of these games, every single one of these games has his art in it, and it really ties the whole kind of world together. It's very awesome. But nonetheless, enough with all that. Architects of West Kingdom is in that same universe, and this is a worker placement, but a worker investment game is a better way of putting it. You have a whole bunch of different stuff out on the board, and you can be building buildings, working on the cathedral, but there's all these different spots on the board, like the quarry, the forest, different spots where you can get resources, different spots where you can do different actions. But the cool thing is when you put a worker down, you get to do that action. Cool. But there's no blocking in the game. All the spots are open for the most part. So then someone else can go there, no problem. But then if I put a second person there on a later action, then I get to do that thing twice, and it pumps up. And then if I put a third person there, then I can do it 3 times, or I get more wood. So if I have 3 people there, I put it down on the quarry, put a 4th one down on the quarry, then I get 4 stone. If I put a 5th one down, I get 5 stone. And so you're investing your workers. But there's a spot on the board where you can round up different sets of workers. So you can basically put it down here, and you can grab a set of workers and put them on your board. Now you can grab your own to get some of your workers back, or you can grab someone else's. And then you can actually send them off to jail and get money. There's weird for-profit prisons in this game, and I don't entirely know why, but it works out for this game. And so you can send people to jail. And so your people can get sent to jail, and then you have to go to the jail to get your people out of the jail. And it's just super, super cool. And every single spot's like that, where the more people you have there, the better that spot gets for you. But you don't want to put too many people there, because then it gets enticing for someone to take it. You know that if you ever get a spot where you have 3 or 4 people on there, you need to go get them back now, because someone is going to take them, because it's just way too valuable not to. And so it's super, super weird, super cool. I really, really like Architects of the West Kingdom. We have played the butt end out of it. I love it, love it, love it. And then it has led to the sequel in the West Kingdom series, which is Paladins of the West Kingdom. So Paladins of the West Kingdom is a sequel to Architects of the West Kingdom. This box is actually pretty empty, because right here on our table, I have it out because I've been working on a You Can Solo That, which will hopefully be out next week for this, because it has a solo variant like most Restoration games. And so, not Restoration, Renegade games, my apologies. Restoration, Renegade, they're similar names. So Paladins of the West Kingdom, already people are like, which one do you like more, Paladins or Architects? Paladins or Architects? I don't know yet, because I've only played Paladins once in multiplayer. I've played it once solo. So I don't entirely know yet. I can pretty well say I think that I'm going to end up liking Paladins more. Not for any specific reason in terms of, I will like the mechanics better. This has a very much like an Orleans kind of mechanic, where you essentially have a set amount of workers that you get each round. Well, you have workers that you get each round depending on certain circumstances. And then you have a bunch of spots on your board that take certain workers. And they're like green workers, blue workers, black workers, white workers, red, and purple. And essentially different spots, so like this spot will take a red worker, a white worker, and a black worker. Cool. And so you basically have all these workers, and then you get to choose how to distribute them on your board, kind of Orleans style. And it's super cool. And then you get to take out these actions. And it's just super, super cool because it is so combo heavy. Like you get to do this and then you get to put this thing out, but that gives you another worker. So now you have more workers to do stuff with. So you go do something else and that gives you money. So you can go do this, but then this thing gave you 2 more workers. So now you have more workers to do stuff with. And you can extend your turns. You can just keep going and going and going. And it's extremely satisfying. And it's just really, really fun. I would say it's definitely heavier than Architects of the West Kingdom. But here's the thing, people are already being like, which one's better, which one's better? They are not similar. They're really, really not similar. Like people always ask, like, what's better, Architects of the West Kingdom or Raiders of the North Sea? I like Architects better as just in general as a game, but like the games aren't really comparable. They're not similar at all. This one and Architects, despite being in the same world, having a very similar looking box, especially when you put it like this, they're not similar at all. But they're both great, and I really like Paladins. I think Paladins is going to skyrocket up. And like this is the second one. There's gonna be a third one in this series. Oh, I can't wait. I have no idea what it's gonna be. I don't care. I just want it. It's really good. It's really good. The theming, I mean, none of the themes are really heavy in this one, but the theming for this one is kind of like really pasted on for the most part. I guess it's the only real thing I can say for it. Like there's no... It's all of it kind of doesn't make much sense, but nonetheless, it's still really good. I don't care. I like the theme. I like it's pasted on whatever. I don't really mind that much. And the art, of course, is wonderful. It's set in that same universe, and I love it. Paladins is great. I said I was going to go quick, and then I realized when I was talking about conspiracy for like 5 whole minutes, I was like, this video is going to be really, really long, and I'm sorry about that. So I'm going to end this video now because we're like 22 minutes in. But nonetheless, that is this shelf right here, one of our red shelves. Maybe we'll do this red shelf next, or this blue shelf, or this dark blue shelf. It's like a dark blue, or maybe one of the yellow brown shelves. Let us know which one you want us to do next, and put down in the comments whether you've played these games, if any of these games seem interesting to you. And while you're there, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, a like, a share, all that different kind of stuff, and make sure to subscribe to the Brothers Murph if you haven't already. My name is Nick Murphy. I'm heading out. I'll see y'all later. You're the best. I love you. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Yeah, bye. That's it. I'm done.
Hello. I want to let you know that we have a Patreon and that you should check it out. There will be a button somewhere around here probably that you can click to help out the Brothers Murph. Click the Patreon. Do it.
Also got to let you know that we're sponsored by Restoration Games and by Game Toppers. Go to GameToppersLLC.com to upgrade your gaming experience. Look at that label. It's beautiful. Do it. Do it right now. I hate you. I'm sorry. I love you.